Bienvenidos a la Daily Hustle. Soy Enrique Byrnes y presidente de esta mejor cerveza. No abate por No Filter Network. Miguelito San Diego, a.k.a. Bobby Ball. Not with us this morning, but job or no job, dead or alive, we salute him properly. Yes, 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 yes. Woo! Remember this, folks. When we are juiceful, we are useful. And when we are juiceless, we are fucking useless. A very pleasant good morning to you from San Diego, California. Today is August the 18th. It's a Friday, 2023. As you will soon find out in the Daily Hustle, this is the 33rd week of 2023, and this is the 33rd Friday of 2023 as well. So, good morning to you. I am at the Casa de the Gloss family, and behind me is some pretty badass memorabilia, including Troy's jersey when he signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks, as well as two silver sluggers up here, one from 2000, the other from 2001. In 2000, I believe, that was the year he hit 47. And ironically, that's what Ohtani is chasing right now. It's still the single season all-time lead for the Angels franchise. Ohtani has threatened it a couple times. A couple years ago, he was all over it, and he was destined to break it, but then he got hurt. So let's hope that's not the case, as much as I'd love to see my boy continue to hold the record. Obviously, I'm a baseball fan, so I will be rooting for Ohtani. And, of course, all records are meant to be broken, but behind here, this is some really, really cool shit that we'll get into, including none other than that right there. I mean, that's pretty much the penultimate. That's a fucking World Series MVP. Now, we definitely could take that to, I don't know where you take it to shine that bad boy up. It looks like it's had some wear and tear over the years, some discoloration, but that really doesn't matter. I mean, it's not even about the trophy anyway. It's about the feet, and that was 2002 when Troy was with the Angels and just had some gigantic base hits, doubles, homer, all of it during that World Series in which the Angels took down, that's right, the San Francisco Giants in 7 games. Let's see what else. Down here, and I love this because it's inspiration, but check this out. I can't even walk you around the room here. That's Brooks Robinson. So I just love the fact that, here is a guy that played third base, and, he had Brooks Robinson there. Brooks Robinson, for the most part, was before our time. There's a good look at the World Series trophy. I mean, where else are you going to get this? Seriously. Here's the National League Player of the Month award, in case you're wondering what that looks like. There's Gary Adams, Conversations with Coach Wooden. That's his book down there, if you can see it. Here's the Big League Challenge 2002 champion. I have no idea what the fuck that is, but who cares? The Babe Ruth Award. That's the most outstanding player of the 2002 World Series as well. Like I mentioned, there's the trophy. And then 7th heaven, there's the Orange County Register after they won the World Series. You guys want to keep going? Why not? It's going to turn into an episode of Cribs, and it's not in my house. Here's some more baseballs, autographed paraphernalia. Obviously, his Angels jersey there. But we'll keep going because over here we have the St. Louis Cardinals and Atlanta Braves. I mean, most people probably don't even realize that Gloss played for the Cardinals or the Braves, at least very few. And then look at that. How cool is that? Troy and Ann and Ty. In case you're wondering, yeah, right there we got a Peloton treadmill, wiffle ball field out in the back over here that the boys have been playing on. And then this is pretty cool. I don't know the thing behind it, but they have his glove, the magic glove, he says. Kind of looks like a Lifetime little gamer right there, the glove. And then this is a hyperbaric chamber right next to his Toronto Blue Jays jersey. And that's Troy's other Anaheim jersey. I guess that's the World Series jersey. And then next to this, Ann just informed me, this was Cal's jersey that he wore in Anaheim. And he took it off and gave it to Troy after the game. It was his last time ever playing in Anaheim. It says, to a healthy, long career, keep going strong. Cal Ripken Jr. game jersey, 7/29/2001. So obviously some pretty cool shit. I was going to do the show from the guest quarters, which Biscuit still happens to be sleeping in. And then Ann gave me the go-ahead. She's like, look, you should go do it in the office. And here we are. Troy's actually not here because, and I don't know if there's public knowledge yet or not. I'm pretty sure it is because it's been reported on a television station in Fresno. But he is the new head coach of Buchanan High School, which is a nationally ranked high school, a couple-time national champion, I believe. And he had an opportunity that came up. I remember kind of laughing about it with him. And I would have told you there's no chance in a million years he'd ever fucking do it. But sometimes in life, we have a calling. And whatever that calling is, we may know or we may not know. We may be planning for one thing, yet something else presents itself. And I think with Troy in this situation, he's been looking for, whether he knows it or not, this strong sense of purpose after his playing days. Now, he has a beautiful family. His kid's a freaking stud. His wife is so awesome, an angel. They were in Florida, and then they went from Florida to Tahoe, and went from Tahoe to San Diego. And still, we're kind of splitting time between Tahoe and San Diego. Ty homeschooled last year, but then this opportunity came up, and the whole homeschool thing, I mean, basically the same program that my kids do. And the idea behind that is the flexibility that comes with it is huge. But then he was, I think, content, I won't say riding off in the sunset, but as Ty, who played for Team USA, was going through or is going through this developmental stage in his life, chasing the same dream that Troy chased. Well, he was going to be there to support the journey. Then this opportunity came up, and Troy would always coach with us with our Let Them Play teams. He's never specifically coached a team where he's been the head guy, but he's always been there, and it's always helped, whether it was the 13s team or whether it was our 12s teams. It doesn't matter. But, I mean, such a wealth of knowledge and information. One of the best infield instructors that I could think of, from a hitting perspective too, just, talking about the simplicity of the swing. look, whoever is going to be around him is truly blessed. It's in the sense that there is as much knowledge, if not more knowledge, coming from him than anyone else I've been around in the game of baseball. He's a student of the game. He loves the game. And for him to take this opportunity and go to Fresno, look, a lot of people probably be scratching their head as he leaves the sick house in Rancho Santa Fe. But it goes to show you that life's not always about things or houses or whatever else. Life's about what we do with our time, the people we spend our time with. That's all that matters. And so I think he wanted to more of the humble surroundings. And I'll tell you this from my experience out in that Fresno Clovis area, there's a little more grit or fight there for whatever reason. A little rougher around the edges where these kids are gonna get after it. And I think Troy, as a baseball lifer, we'll call him, appreciates what that is. So ultimately, it'll be fun to watch him and the boys at Buchanan. Ty is in 7th grade, so he's got 2 years, but he's going to be going to school in Fresno as well. So we're down here, a little family vacay. That's it. No big rhyme or reason other than we're going to go see Amanda Panda Can of Worms, which is Tara's best friend. Her godson, so Tara's godson, which would be Chase, is racing one of those like midget car things. And I'm not sure, can I say midget car? Is that acceptable? He's racing this weekend. He's won 3 races in a row. The kid's a badass. And he's going to be racing this Saturday. We're going to go to that race. We have a practice tonight with all the LTP kids that are in the SoCal area that we're going to hold here. Glossy's got a sick batting cage up there. And we got a little taco truck and team party get together planned. And then Saturday, that is a race. And then Sunday, we're hoping to go to the Padres and the Diamondbacks game. But as we're going to get into in a minute, a fucking hurricane's coming. Like, this is the real deal. I don't know if the game's going to be playable even on Saturday, let alone Sunday. There's people making travel plans to get out of here. And the path of the hurricane, too, it's coming straight up the coast. It's going to come off Cabo, right? Direct hit on San Diego, and then make its way up north, where it ends, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday in fucking Tahoe. So, obviously, everyone take as many precautions as possible. The only thing, not the only thing, but when something like this is happening or coming, and let this be a lesson for all of us as we're dealing with more extreme weather. Take precautionary measures as much as possible. The one thing that continues to scare me, I'm not sure scared is the right word, but to make me extra conscious are the power lines. And so even here in Rancho Santa Fe, we have power lines that are sprawled throughout the city. Well, if hurricane force winds come up and hit the way we think they're going to hit, what's going to happen is these power lines are going to get fucking toppled. And as these get toppled and they're crashing into the ground and creating the sparks and creating potential wildfires, that's where it gets scary. So in the low-lying areas, I think the thing to worry about, obviously, is the flooding and whatever sort of storm surge you're going to have. But as you get inland more and you deal with it, these power lines are for real. So pay attention to that. We had a conversation about last night. At some point, and obviously, it's not as easy. It's easier said than done because they haven't fucking done it. And especially when you're talking about PG&E and going ahead and replacing all of these power lines that are in open areas and then putting them underground. You got to do it. I mean, it's the infrastructure of all new communities now. Everything is underground. But unfortunately here and, you know, a lot of other places, it's just still not. And then it creates this great hazard. So you're dealing with potential wildfires from lightning that hit, but also the strong winds just knocking over those poles. So there's my public service announcement and fair warning for everybody who will be dealing with this hurricane coming our way. And this bitch's name is Hilary. All right, let's start out with the daily hustle today, which, is one of my favorites. And actually is a chapter in the Daily Hustle 222 book that we haven't sold enough copies of. Not even close. As I'm getting ready to promote the new one, I was just thinking to myself, like, dude, we still have the DH222, and part of it's on me, right? I mean, you're only as good as the marketing and everything else, but it's a really good book. It really is. And I figured that we're going to make a push on this thing for the next couple months before the next book comes out. And that next book is Let Them Play, a coaching, parenting, and playing guide to youth sports. The Daily Hustle for today, without further ado. Buenos dias. Today is Friday, August 18, 2023, which just so happens to be the 33rd Friday on the 33rd week of 2023. It's also the 59th day of summer, and there are still 36 days until fall, which brings up a very interesting question. Why the suck are 90% of schools back in session? Somebody tell me that. That makes no sense, especially in the South and other areas where the weather sucks. The weather in the spring is way better than this summertime. Why do we force this? I don't get, like, schools used to get out in June where they should get out. But now it's, for whatever reason, they all try to get done by Memorial Day, basically. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyhow, to each their own. And just as Mark Twain reminds us, let's make sure we remind kids to not let their schooling interfere with their education. Very good point. On that note, playing 11 seasons of Major League Baseball, along with 5 winters in the Dominican Republic, brought forth plenty of educational experiences that helped form who I am, or who I was as a baseball player, as well as who I am as a person today. So below, we gift you a free Friday chapter from the Daily Hustle 222 Unfiltered Life Guide for Me Human Crash Test Dummy. The title, Don't Be a Jackass. Welcome back to Baseball Etiquette 101. This is a 2-day session that started yesterday with our guest instructor who taught us how not to be a dissident, disrespectful, dirty, self-entitled a-hole. Today, we will take a broader view on how the game would be best served moving forward into the mid-21st century. A few years ago, Bryce Harper began the Make Baseball Fun Again campaign. What exactly was he talking about? For years, the old regime lived by 3 basic unwritten rules strictly governed by the entire professional baseball culture. Number 1, keep your head down. Number 2, act like you've done it before. Number 3, don't ever show your emotions. This postseason, MLB ran out an ad campaign narrated by Ken Griffey Jr., all about, quote unquote, letting the kids play. Within the ad are the game's best players with their heads held high, acting as if they hit their first home run in Little League and celebrating as if it was Game 7 of the World Series. Quite the contrast to when I first broke into the league in 2000. As somebody who couldn't help but play the game with my heart on my sleeve, I am stoked to see how the game has gradually transformed the entire culture. Playing 5 seasons in the Dominican Republic made me realize that baseball could be fun, and it was possible to play with emotion without showing up an opponent. As a matter of fact, I learned to play the game with an exuberant freedom of expression jointly shared by just about the entire league. Not surprisingly, I played my best baseball in the Dominican Republic, winning an MVP award and 2 championships. Ironically, MLB has finally caught up to Latin American baseball. Latino ball players have always played with an emotional flair in their home countries, yet often would suppress their moxie in an attempt to conform to the United States baseball culture. So, how exactly did U.S. baseball create a culture of a bunch of stiffs? It basically was established by the, quote, be seen, not heard generation that valued military chain of command type system with a supreme focus on humility and gratitude. Dang, what's wrong with that? Nothing. Fuck, what now? As I watch the game, it's great to see the players have fun and showing their emotions, but I also feel like part of the humility and gratitude has been compromised. Watching a player pump his fist, bang his chest, or point to his dugout after a game-changing pitch, play, or hit is awesome, authentic exuberance. Watching a player do the same when his team is down 6 runs in the 8th inning is an embarrassing selfish display of artificial bullshit. We want to have fun and show our emotions, but we also need to remember to adhere to the basic life principles that keep humility and gratitude at the forefront. Furthermore, I would like to take this opportunity to elect myself as the newest baseball etiquette police chief, as I still would. My motto, make baseball fun again, but don't be a jackass. EB. P.S. If you haven't picked up your copy of the DH222 yet, slap yourself in the face, kick yourself in the midsection. Then go to ericbyrnes.com and order yourself and your 5 besties some books. Also, if you're looking for a morning charge, join the Daily Hustle Life Optimization video podcast by clicking pick or link below. We'll be live at 8:30 a.m. or catch the recording with the same link later in the day or on Caffeine TV. So, look, it's pretty clear here. I totally support the direction that baseball has gone. It's something that I truly believe is great for the game. It is attracting a younger generation, and it is making baseball fun again in a lot of ways. The Savannah Bananas are basically at the forefront of this movement. But I would say within Major League Baseball, there's still a humility that you have to have in order to play this game. It's stay humble or be humble. And if you don't remain humble and you're constantly going over the top to celebrate this or celebrate that, it's like, fuck, man, enough's enough. When you get a base hit and you're down by 5 runs in the 8th inning, and you're over there and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Nobody gives a shit. If you're going to celebrate and it's going to mean something, can we please do it in times that matter? And it's almost like the situation where it's overkill, because when you do finally get to celebrate and you do finally get to have that raw emotional time that'll win you the 7th game of a fucking World Series, that's when it matters. So to do whatever it is that you're going to do, dance and handshakes and all the other bullshit, just make sure it matters and make sure it's a moment of the fucking game where it actually makes a difference. And the other thing about all this, one of the coolest things that I've seen with all of the new wave celebrations is when it involves the entire team. So, for example, when the Baltimore Orioles hit a double, they're double selling as the sprinkler. The guy on second base pulls that off, and then the guys on the bench fill their mouths up with water and go, and they spit it out. It's fucking fantastic. It's one of the coolest celebrations I've seen. And when you involve teammates, that's great. Yet, when you have home run trots that take 40 seconds to get around the fucking bases, and it involves, dancing and doing whatever it is, and sidestepping at every base, and the home run's a meaningless home run late in a game that's already been decided, you look like a fucking buffoon. And you really do. It's a look at me, selfish sort of, act. Now, there were times where I would come up and I would get a big knock, and it's just, yes, like, woo! Like, whatever it is that, I was real careful too. Because back in the day, you pull that shit, they'd stick one in your fucking ribs, if not behind your head. They would. So when I faced guys like Pedro and Roger Clemens and any of the greats, Randy Johnson, you wanted to be seen, not heard, and you keep your head down. You're not trying to piss these guys off at all. You don't need to give them any extra motivation. You kind of want to be like the snake, like lying in the weeds, and then you come up and you get them. But Greg Maddux, for example, I had unbelievable numbers off of Greg Maddux. For whatever reasons, I don't owned him's not necessarily the right word, but I barreled a shit ton of balls against him. And he had, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that he had that two-seamer that would run back into me. But even against Maddux, I didn't go up there like banging my chest, or when I was fortunate enough to get him, it wasn't like I wanted to draw any extra attention to me. I wanted him to not even know who I was. And then I would come up and, don't get me wrong, head held high, chest out, shoulders back, be a dude, and have confidence. And when you get a base hit, like, yeah, okay, no problem, celebrate it amongst yourself. But it's just one of those things where ultimately make baseball fun again. Enjoy yourself. Celebrate the game. Celebrate yourself every now and then in these gigantic moments. Celebrate with your teammates. But most importantly, through all of it, let this be a guiding phrase. Don't be a fucking jackass. That's it. Have a feel is the term that we use with the Bananas. Now, it's a little bit of a different scenario there. But when you have a huge moment of the game the game's on the line, to feel the ball between your legs and get the out at first base, probably not the best time. If the winning run is on third base and you get a fly ball in center field and you're DR Meadows, to pull the backflip catch at that point, probably not the best time. But there are times where you can take a chance like that. And there are times even to celebrate these great big moments, say in Major League Baseball or professional baseball. But there's other times it's just like, dude, what's wrong with you? And they have a feel for the situation, when to do something, when not to do something. Okay, let's rip through some other topics that we have here. The daily hustle. Hurricane Hilary is for real. Upgraded to a Category 3, amplifying danger to Southern California. Projections show the storm has about a 50% chance of hitting Southern California as a tropical storm by late Sunday or early Monday. Hurricane Hilary, rapidly intensifying off Mexico's coast, was upgraded to a Category 3 storm Thursday evening, with forecasters warning that the storm will likely hit Southern California by the weekend and bring a deluge of rain, whipping winds, and dangerous surf. By the time the system makes its way to the southwestern United States, officials believe its hurricane-strength winds will have weakened, lessened by landfall or cooler waters, depending on its path, but there's still a good chance that the tropical storm-force winds will hit the Southland, an event that the region hasn't seen, you ready for this? Since 1939. The National Weather Service is in San Diego noted Thursday evening, that's where I am right now, that heavy rainfall was expected, especially in the mountain and desert areas. Projections show the storm has about a 50% chance of hitting Southern California late Sunday. I think we need to go over this. Anyhow, this pitch is coming. So take whatever precautionary measures. Look at it. I mean, that's top story. Look at the eye. It's actually where it's calm. Whew. Pretty gnarly. So apparently, I don't know if you guys saw this video. It was really cool. And I didn't put the link in here for whatever reason. I don't know why. But there's a video that surfaced of a dog that was outside the house. So it'd be just, like this. We're looking out there. And you're like, oh, it's this dog. And it's running around and it's playing with this other dog. And so one of the ladies are like having tea. Tells the house owner, like, oh, like such and such, like met a friend. And they're running back and forth, they're jumping around, they're playing. They're like, oh, this is cute. And it looked like it was a lab. Like it wasn't like this crazy, I don't know. Whether Rottweiler or something else. I can't even think what massive, I guess, would be one of the scarier dogs. But it's playing with this other animal. Well, the other animal wasn't a fucking dog. It was a mountain lion. So they're saying that, look, it's not aggressive. I mean, apparently it wasn't aggressive. Otherwise it would have eaten the dog or attempted to eat the dog. Are we domesticating these cats? Like, it's crazy to think if they're in areas, and the same thing with bears, if they're in areas where the food is plentiful, like it's not an issue. But when these animals become hungry and become desperate, I mean, we all know how we get when we become hungry. So that was a pretty cool thing. All right, there's this other article that I sent Kale and Trent, my tennis correspondents here at No Filter Network. So there's this player, and he's playing this yesterday. It's made his rounds. And the guy's name is Steph, I believe. And so Steph is playing in this tournament, and he's going up against this other guy. And he's about to serve. And he's like this. He's like his racket, like trying to get what looks like it's a bead or something away from him. And then he swats again. And then all of a sudden he comes back here, he's getting ready to serve. And he steps back. And then you see him glance back. He's like, huh. Well, what happened was a lady who was sitting directly behind him. And you're pretty close to the players at these tournaments. Closer than it even looks on TV, because a tennis court's not like this gigantic space. She was making a buzzing sound behind him as he was about to serve to try to get him to fall. Now, apparently, the lady was also there to support the other player. So the dude, Steph, walks up to the umpire, sitting on the big chair. And he's like, look, dude, there's a lady making a buzzing sound behind me. And he goes, like, do you know who it is? He goes, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know who it is. So he walks over there And there's actually someone who's sitting, say, in like the third row, going like this, pointing at the lady who was making the sound. So the player's staff was like, I want her out of here. Well, the umpire's like, how about we just ask her to stop and we move on? Well, apparently, this player has a bit of a reputation for being a whiny little bitch. So I don't think it helped him that he brought this up. Now, I was on the different side of this a little bit with Kale and Trent, who basically are saying, dude, that's his reputation. He complains a lot. He bitches a lot. Where I'm kind of looking at it like, well, fuck, I get it, but fuck, man. I don't need this lady in the back going, bzzz, whatever. It's one thing if there's constant noise and it's happening. And as a baseball player, obviously, you're up to bat. Byrnes, you suck, whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, get her fucking out of there. That's bullshit. Now, where, how, why, that whole thing, transpires or goes. It makes you think, though, would tennis, and I'm convinced about this in golf, too, be better if we were allowed to have them? Imagine tennis be just like any other sport, where there's cheering, there's maybe music playing. In golf, for example, if you go to just about any country club these days, they'll even have Bluetooth speakers on the golf carts with the music and everything. Could you imagine the atmosphere at a tennis match with that music playing? The guys back, like, you go to an NBA game, they play it during the fucking game. They play it, like, you go to a Bananas game, same thing. I'm up to bat in a Bananas game. It's like, I just keep running. Dude, it is electric. So one way to prevent the little things like that, but if you are going silent, that's the special talent. Anyhow, I found that really interesting. Roberto Clemente, B-Day today. By the way, I just got a text from Sean Casey. Looking for Menachino's number. I'll send that to you in a minute, buddy. Roberto Clemente birthday was August 18th today. Major League Baseball great Roberto Clemente was born on this day, August 18th, 1934. I mean, that's wild. Like, Roberto Clemente, I mean, he would be 89? Clemente's mother, Luisa Walker, gave birth to her son in a Barrio San Antonio, Carolina, and Puerto Rico. According to Roberto Clemente Foundation, the child grew up loading trucks for his father, Melchor Clemente, on a sugarcane plantation before joining the Puerto Rican Professional Baseball League at 17 years old. Clemente had always been athletic. He excelled at the high jump and the javelin throw at Viscarado High School, the foundation noted on the website. Even though there was a conversation about Clemente's eligibility for the Olympics, he was most passionate about baseball. Interesting. High jump. Clemente was praised for his powerful throwing arm. It was often described by commentators as a rifle or weapon for its laser precision, the Roberto Clemente Foundation wrote. In 1954, Clemente was scouted by the Brooklyn Dodgers minor league team. He was offered $5,000 salary with a $10,000 bonus to sign. Clemente's father made a public announcement on a local newspaper that his son would be attending engineering school if he was not paid sufficiently. The Atlanta Braves took this as an opportunity to offer Clemente a higher offer of $30,000. But Clemente took his mother's advice to sign with whoever he gave his word to. And so 18-year-old Clemente signed with the Dodgers after moving on to play an international season with the Montreal Royals. Clemente made his Major League debut in 1955 as a right fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates. With the Pirates, Clemente would receive his iconic 21 jersey, in which he went on to set MLB records throughout the 1960s. Clemente capped his baseball career with 2 World Series wins, a National League MVP award, 12 Gold Gloves, and 4 batting titles. He was also the first Latin American ballplayer to join the 3,000 hit club. Lifetime batting average of .317. Clemente took great pride in representing Puerto Rico, a large Latin American, during the era of segregation and Jim Crow. His foundation detailed on the website. 1972, Nicaragua was rocked by one of the world's deadliest earthquakes, killing about 5,000 people, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Clemente insisted on accompanying a shipment of supplies over the scene of the disaster after his original shipment has been lost. On December 31st, 1972, Clemente boarded a flight that was overloaded. The plane crashed into the ocean off the coast of San Juan immediately after takeoff. Clemente's body was never found, but his legacy lives on. He was elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame the year after his death, becoming the first Latino to be honored. So I had an opportunity to meet Roberto Clemente Jr. And Roberto Clemente Jr. told me this story. And this is right about the time we opened Studio 21 at MLB Network, where he begs his father not to go. And that's like really the main memory that he has from his childhood. It's like, Poppy, no, like, no, don't go. There's something bad gonna happen. And I mean, just scary to think about. I obviously lost this icon way too early. But every time I think about Roberto Clemente, I think about what his kid, Roberto Clemente Jr., told me. And he's a big champion of the game. I know Roberto Clemente Jr. is still heavily involved in a bunch of different aspects, championing his dad's name on. But how about that? Because the Montreal Royals also had Jackie Robinson play for them. So, I mean, you were talking about some serious baseball history running through the city of Montreal. And, of course, Montreal, the hometown of Giuseppe Pepe Manuele, the host of Pepe's Parlays, coming back very, very soon here to No Filter Network as we get ready for the football season. Little League World Series 2023, Thursday scores, bracket results, and highlights. Day 2 of the 2023 Little League World Series saw 8 additional teams start their tournament after 8 kicked off the event Wednesday. Teams from Northwest, Seattle, and New England opened the U.S. side of the bracket to advance to the winner's bracket, while the West, California, and the Great Lakes provided the nightcap to advance to the other side of the winner's bracket. On the international side, the Caribbean, Curacao, faced Australia to advance to the winner's bracket, while Asia Pacific, Chinese Taipei, took on Canada to avoid an elimination matchup. Here's a recap of Thursday's actions. It was Caribbean, Curacao defeated Australia 2-1. Good on Australia hanging with them. Curacao is always really fucking good. The Northwest, Seattle, Washington defeated New England. Gray, Maine, that's the New England team, 10-0. Asia Pacific, that's Chinese Taipei, Taiwan versus Canada. So that 5 p.m. Eastern. Interesting. So those were the games without the scores. Okay. Anyhow, Little League World Series is rocking and rolling right now. There was a abandonment rule. This was interesting. Mariners player called out on a rare abandonment rule in bizarre scene versus Royals. There are not too many times baseball fans get to witness an MLB hitter getting called out for abandonment while attempting to safely reach first base. On Thursday, the unusually rare putout took place in the 7th inning of Kansas City's matchup against Seattle. Royals outfielder MJ Melendez making a sliding attempt to snag Seattle's Dylan Moore's sinking line drive in left field. Despite getting a glove on the ball, Melendez was unable to make the clean grab. Under the impression that Melendez came up with the catch, Moore retreated back to his dugout after touching first base, with his teammates yelling for Melendez to throw the ball at first. The club's left fielder fired the ball to Kansas City's Matt Duffy after Moore ran back towards home plate. According to the official score, Moore was immediately called out by first base umpire John Lipka for abandonment. That's Rule 5.09B. And it reads, if a runner leaves his base path and heads for the dugout or his position, believing that there is no further play, he may be declared out if the umpire judges the act of the runner to be considered abandoning his efforts to run the bases. The Mariners were able to overcome the base running blunder, erasing a 4-2 deficit by scoring 4 runs in the final 2 innings to earn a 6-4 win. Still, Seattle's 66th win of the season will be remembered for arguably the strangest recorded out of the entire 2023 season. So, check this out. Here it is. Here's the base hit. And it comes, and it looked like he probably should have caught it. Not probably should. He should have caught it. And Moore hit first base. Watch this. He hits first, and he turns around, and he's going back to the dugout. And then see ya. So my only question is, it's got to be a fucking hit, right? It's got to be. Because he touched first base. Now, that doesn't make it any better. Always assume. Even when I would hit a fly ball, and the guy would jump up and say he robs a homer, I would run around the bases like I hit the homer all the way until third, until I make sure I saw that ball. Always assume great things are happening in your favor. There's no way, even if you look like a jackass, it doesn't matter. There's absolutely no way shit like that was going to happen. No way. You have to assume that, again, a ball had fallen or he had dropped it or whatever. I would always take the extra precautionary measure in that state. Okay, look around Major League Baseball and get on out of here and everyone enjoy their weekend. Friday, let's see, yesterday's games. Let's hit these at Seattle 6-4. We just mentioned that. J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez, a 5-hit fucking game. He was unbelievable yesterday, including an absolute swamp donkey bomb to left field, and he led the Mariner comeback efforts. Nationals 10-7 over the Red Sox. It looked like a good game. Joey Meneses, 5 RBIs for the Nationals. Luis Urias, a grand slam for the Red Sox. But the Nats take that one. It's Red Sox now 63-58. Go over the records in a minute. Mets 4-2 over the Cardinals. A couple of teams that have had disappointing seasons. D-backs, a big win last night here in San Diego. And their closer, I think the last name was Martinez, throwing 103 miles per hour. Holy shit. 103 and throwing a ton of splits. Tommy Pham, a 2-run homer, his 12th, and then Gabriel Moreno, a solo homer, his 4th. Dodgers 1-0 over the Brewers. And that was an Austin Barnes go-ahead homer that Nomar Garciaparra called. Really cool to see that. This is a guy that's 33 years old, ASU kid, always rooted for him, did a whole segment with him at MLB Network a few years ago. Easy guy to root for. He had not hit a home run in, I believe it was like 50 games. And it would span all the way back to September of last year. So essentially it's been a year since the guy's hit a bomb. Now, he hasn't played in 160 games since then, but he's played in 50. And ironically, he hits a nuke and Dodgers win 1-0. For Nomar to call that is impressive. Like, what would give you any sort of intuition or inclination that Austin Barnes would be the guy that goes deep to win the game? Very impressive. I just got to assume it was because he was getting the rare start. He's a backup catcher, and I imagine him and Nomar get along, or they have some kind of relationship, so he decided to back his boy. And Austin Byrnes made him look like a fucking genius. Tigers at Guardians, that game was postponed. So tonight's action is going to be a bunch of new series happening. So Royals at the Cubs, Tigers at Guardians, Blue Jays at the Reds. That'll be a fun one. Phillies at the Nationals. Phillies got to take care of business. The Nationals are a pain in the ass. They're pretty good. So if you're the Phillies, look out. You got Michael Lorenzen, our dude from Fullerton, guy who threw the no-hitter. Huge friend of the program here at No Filter Network. 3.23 ERA taking on Adon, who's got a 5.14. Red Sox and the Yankees. Oh, shit. You got the Yankees 60 and 61, the Red Sox 63 and 58. Giants 64 and 57 go to Atlanta. Wow. This ought to be a fun one. It's Alex Cobb against Spencer Strider. Strider, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. His ERA is a little high, 3.75, but he's 13 and 4. Leads the league in strikeouts. Absolute filth. Brewers are at the Rangers. That'd be another good series. It's going to be Woodruff against Heaney. Seattle at Houston. Seattle now 66 and 55. They're on the Astros' heels. If they go in there and somehow walk away with a sweep, look, that'd be 69 wins. Yeah, I mean, they could get within a half game of the Astros if they're able to go in there and pull off the small miracle. Pirates at the Twins. Mets at the Cardinals, White Sox at the Rockies, Rays at the Angels, Orioles at the A's. That's the Byrnes Bowl. D-backs at the Padres. We're going to try to get out to one of these. And then you got the Marlins at the Dodgers. Standings here in the, let's see here. The leaders in the divisions of the American League, Baltimore 74 and 47. And they are on top of the East. The Texas Rangers are 72 and 49 on top of the West. And the Twins are 63 and 59 on top of the Central. The wild card teams as of today would be Tampa, Houston, and Toronto. Seattle, a half game back. Boston, 3.5 back. Yankees, 6.5 back. Then we have the National League, where you got Atlanta, who has the best record in all of baseball, 78 and 42. They lead the East. You have the Dodgers leading the West, 74 and 46. They've won 11 in a row. Holy shit. And then the Brewers, 65 and 57. They've lost 3 in a row, but still are, they're a few games up on the Cubbies here. But, man, that thing's going to be tight. Right now, wow. The NL wild card would have Philly, San Francisco, and Chicago. These are great teams. If you tell me this is the playoffs in the National League, I'm sure this would be a fun one. Braves, Dodgers, Brewers, Philly, San Francisco, and the Cubs. What a fucking playoff collection. So you after that, wait, hold on a second. Because basically identical records. Cincinnati and Miami are right there in the hunt as well. They're 63 and 59. The Cubs would be 62 and 58, but for whatever reason, they have the Cubs. They have not identical records, but they have the Cubs as being the team that would be in. And then you have Arizona that's only a game back. They're 62 and 60 after the win in San Diego last night. And then San Diego is 5 back at 58 and 64. Well, of all the shows, that was definitely one of them. Let's go to the brainy quote that comes to us each and every single morning here. The quote of the day: honor is not the exclusive property of any political party. No, it's not. You actually are able to have honor no matter what political party you affiliate yourself with. Let's open the chat as I do this. Hey, Mo, what's up, buddy? Last three opening starters at first base for the Atlanta Braves. Matt Olson, Freddie Freeman, and Troy Gloss. Holy shit. How about that? That is funny, dude. Hey, Mo, have a great weekend. It should be a fun series. Watch the Braves and the Gigantes get after it. Everybody else, if you have not told a friend about the Daily Hustle, go ahead and do it. Life Optimization Podcast coming at you. I think we're going to start going Monday through Friday. Right now, it's been Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But as we do more with Caffeine TV and the Believe Podcast Network that's coming up next, we're going to try to run this thing out 5 days a week. All right. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. One more thing for all of you.